Hey there guys, it's Metro, and today we are back with another video, and yet another unique video I figured I might as well make for you guys. This is something that's been in the corner of my mind for a couple of days now. If you watched the testing we did on reaping on the PTR on Saturday and also Friday to some degree, we came to the realization that probably the hardest part about reaping is going to be that it's often going to swarm us in the middle of packs. And I talked a lot about it on stream about how I'm pretty much going to have to start knowing a lot more about pack-to-pack pulls, pack-to-pack percentage, knowing exactly when reaping is going to come and when it's going to get out of control. So this is something I need to be doing anyway. Might as well make a video on it, get to hear your guys' comments. So first things first, we're using the method dungeon tools to approximate the count and the route. I'm pretty sure this is 100% accurate, but I'm not exactly 100% sure that it is. So I'm pretty sure it is, but regardless, there may be an error or two in this video. This is not really, even though I'm stylizing it as a guide, this is me learning along the way as well. So I hope you guys will give your opinions and suggest different options here for routes when we find out that some of these routes are going to be invalidated based on the reaping spawns. So it spawns every 20%, so we're going to be taking a look at 20, 40, 60, 80, and then ways that we could potentially avoid 100, okay? And we'll start with the Atal'Dazar and go down the list. The one thing, I don't know, can you actually make this add-on bigger? I feel like this is, yeah, it's as big as it's going to get. So I don't know, maybe there's a way. But anyway, I'm not aware of it. So let's get started. So we're going to start at Atal'Dazar. Obviously going to come down the ramp here. And we're going to go right down to Razan. No reason to even click that. There's no mobs down here. So we're going to get these two packs pretty much immediately. Another pack I don't mind getting early is this one as well. So I'm going to go ahead and assume I am getting these. You have to be careful here because these are not tethered for some reason, even though I don't think you can pull them solo. So this would be, we'd go these two, we'd kill Razan, come back up, I'd get this one, and then we'd go up here and get this one. Usually I would mind control this one first, but let's assume we're killing it. And then we got to kill these two as well. These are a patrol, and we're getting close to 20% here. So we're getting to the point here where you're coming to the first split of 20%. Once we kill this pack, we are definitely over 20%. Let's see how much mob. So this actually gets us under 20, but it's really unlikely that mob is not going to aggro with these mobs. Sometimes you might see it before these mobs, or sometimes you might see it after. But yeah, realistically, it's going to aggro. All of these are going to come together. So one way or the other, we're well over. So that is 25%. So let's see where we could subtract percent to get under 20, or perhaps in a more comfortable spot. This seems like it's a lot better because now we have this mob as the 20th percent. Okay, I think this is a lot better. So we'll probably stop pulling these early. I need to start thinking about doing that because I've been kind of going through the motions of pulling it. But if we add these in on this first half of this route, it is going to cause us to reach over 20%. While we're fighting this pack effectively. One or two of these mobs might die. We could also mind control the mob. Let's go ahead and see exactly how much we're over. We're over 5%. So yeah, realistically, we'd have to swerve this. And yeah, we'd have to not only mind control this, but one way or the other, the totem does not give count. So yeah, one way or the other, if we killed either of these two mobs, let's take a look. We can actually, I think you control. Yeah, there we go. So if we eliminate that mob, then we're at 21%. So yeah, basically this would actually work out kind of well. If we did this exact same route and we mind control this mob and then killed the second mob here and swerved this pat, this would also be good. So realistically, there's a couple options here out of the gate. Let's go ahead and see. We'll just keep playing like this, assuming we got this pack, and continue to see what the rest of the count is. So we'll mind control one of these, but eventually we're going to kill both of them anyway. So we're at 33 now with this pack. This next pack is definitely one of them is being mind controlled for good. And ideally we would have swerved. No, realistically we're going to end up with this pack too. So let's see. So we have this, and yeah, now we're definitely looking at 40 in the middle of this pack. This is well over. So one of these is going to be mind control. Let's see here. That one's probably going to be mind control. Doesn't really matter. So it looks like yeah, that's dangerous. So we'd kill both of these, and then we'd still have this mob up while the second reaping spawns. And that's not good. So ideally, we'd want to skip this pack if we can, but that is really unrealistic. So we could fight and deal with this pack minus this mob and then deal with this pack. That would be ideal, and then we'd get all of this reaping. This is not actually a lot of reaping if you think about it. Very few mobs here actually. Think about how many mobs yeah, this is very few mobs that we'd have ended up pulling. So really not that bad of a deal here, but Either way, this is a bit dangerous. So let's go ahead and get rid of this pack again, see what changes. Okay, so let's start over real quick because I think this is actually going to work out pretty well. Okay, so we'll skip this mob. We'll grab these two, grab these, grab this, obviously. Kill all this stuff, kill all that stuff. That is at 30. So, you know, we already talked about the options here. There we go. So that's perfect. So this is actually perfect. Okay, so we're at 30. Well, I don't know if it is, though. 39.39% before the boss. I feel like getting reaping right before a boss is suboptimal, so I don't really know. I'm not really sure. You know, these are things we got to think about, and I'm glad we're doing this because, yeah, I'm already a bit confused. So maybe what we should do, let's see. What we could do is then just kill this mob. We could not mind control it, but it does so much damage. I feel like you gotta mind control it. There's no other options in terms of mind controls. So yeah, maybe it is better to just not go this way. Just end up, you know, fighting, seeing what happens with this Pat, and just fighting the reaping here. Because realistically, we'd have this one mind controlled, and this one would still be alive while the reaping is happening. But it would be so few mobs. I mean, we're talking. Surely the totems aren't going to spawn a mob. I don't know. So we're talking about what, like 7 or 8 mobs, really? So this isn't that bad actually if we just go this route. Okay, so anyway, assuming we've done that, you know, like I said, we'll still iterate on it, but assuming we've done that, we're now at 45. Now we're coming down, killing that pack. That's a whole 10% right there. This pack here is going to get us to 58, and then this pack here is going to be an easy 60. So this is also, you know, really low danger. Killing these together, you know, ideally you would just kill this one first. This is actually pretty good. Kill this one first, and then the reaping comes, and again, very few mobs. It would only be, you know, well, actually, we're still going to have one of these mind-controlled. Yeah, okay. So anyway, this pack here, perfect. Okay. So one of these is mind controlled. So yeah, we have 60% at this point. So one way, it doesn't matter even if we were over 60 while we're fighting this pack. A very, very low danger pack. So yeah, killing this here is going to get us at 60. That's ideal. I feel like that's perfect. Works very well with the route that we normally do. Then we go over here. Let's see where we're at. 61 all the way up to 65 now. Again, we got to make sure we're clicking all of these. That is 69 and that is 77. Now that is, let's see. So that's going to get us to 77. This is going to get us to 81. What about these ones? We could try to get both of those, but I think that's a little dangerous when we're fighting this pack. It's going to depend on the week too, because sometimes you might try to combine all of these mobs, especially now that they're not infested. One of the big problems where you see these mobs are both infested this week. Well, this isn't even our week. Oh yeah, it is this week. But anyway, yeah, both of these are infested. So you try to pull them together after this pack, so you don't have infested mobs running all around. But realistically, there's no more infest, obviously. So I think I'll probably go left here first. This seems like the right choice. We had some weird issues with reaping coming up these stairs. So we will see immediately what happens here when we're over here fighting these mobs, and these mobs are coming all the way. You know, these mobs are going to be coming from down here, coming all the way up these stairs, all the way up to meet us here. So we'll see, we might have to go back down a bit. But anyway, that's a pretty comfortable place to reach 80. And we do have the mind control mob still on us, so that is absolutely ideal. So we're going to get the rest of the count from these mobs, which is a very easy final 20%. Very quick, easy 20%. And then we're going to go back over. Now, we could also get this mob if we really wanted to, and we have done this in the past, but we do not need it because, if you remember, we have this mob mind controlled. Now, the way I do this dungeon anyway is literally every time this mob just does all the bosses that I can have it with for me. So we will kill the final boss and then release the mind control, and 100% skipped. Okay, that's very good. Skipping the final wave of ads is extremely easy. And in this dungeon, it's even more easy. Now, again, this is my route. This is a route that does not include pulling any of this stuff over here. I think it's very time inefficient. I know a lot of people really like pulling it because these packs are quite dangerous and they have a lot of health. But as a Blood Death Knight, I can manipulate them extremely easily, and I do think it is faster to not be going side to side like this and always going in the direction you want to go. So this is my route. Again, this is not what most you know, the higher keys would do. But for me, it looks like almost ideal. There's really only one bad split, and it's either the first or the second, depending on what we do with this pack. And then after that, the next two splits are extremely easy, and the final one is skipped. So that is very good. So let's move on to Freehold. Freehold obviously has a lot more trash, so we'll see. Now, I'm going to assume we're going to skip out of the gate, but we can consider what happens if we don't skip out of the gate as well. So typically, we would have come up here. This is that pack downstairs, so we're not pulling those. I don't know, you know, what happens here now, especially without infested. A lot of times we would pull this pack if this pack was infested, or we'd pull this pack if this pack was infested. But for the sake of things, especially without Nefest, let's go ahead and assume we're just pulling that pack. That's actually 7.5%. I did not realize it gave that much. Now let's see. Now this pack actually runs away, right? So this is the single mob we'd aggro before the bridge. And that gets us to 9%, so that's good. So we're getting across here. Kind of wish you could turn things, because obviously you never approach it this way. These mobs, what is that mob? Invisible. Anyway, these mobs are, why is that mob invisible? Confused. Anyway, these mobs are almost always, you're pretty much not going to avoid aggroing these mobs, especially depending on the thing. Actually, I wonder if these give count? Oh, they do give count. Huh. Wait, is that actually the event? Oh, that's confusing. Well, this is going to be a little bit more difficult to look at then. Let's see if we can see other weeks. Yeah, let's go ahead and exclude this week just because... Oh, so that mob is not there during this week? It's acting like it's not there, but it would be because we haven't done the event yet at this point. So yeah, let's just exclude that week because that week is a little different. We'll come back to that another time maybe, but... Oh, join crew. I see, so there we go. I didn't realize that was up there. So anyway, we'll assume we could fight all of these mobs, but... Anyway, we definitely get this pack one way or the other. It's blocking entrance the way I want to go anyway. So we come up here. Let's see. We got the rats. There's the rat patrol. So we grab those. We're still not at 20, by the way. This is very interesting. First 20. Oh, we're still not at 20. Okay, we definitely want to be at 20 before we do this second boss. So we want to try to get some of these yellows, I think, here. These yellows are pretty accessible anyway. This is a pack that sometimes gets aggroed anyway. So I'm kind of thinking we could kind of route in this pack, but maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe they just don't give it up. Well, okay, so this pack here, these usually get aggroed. So we're just going to go ahead and assume we've aggroed all of this stuff together. We'll try to get 20. Let's say, you know, so we've gotten all of this stuff. We're not doing the, you know, the mobs coming in from this area. We're doing this route this week. And then our 20th, yeah, this is perfect. We kill this pack. This is actually ideal because we'd kill the rats and we'd still be sub 20. This is the last mob that's going to live. So we're going to kill this mob and then we're going to be at 20. And then things are going to come, things are going to come from Narnia. Mobs are going to come from the very start of the dungeon effectively. I don't know how they're going to get to us. This is going to be odd coming across this long bridge. We'll see what happens, but let's just assume Blizzard knows what they're doing and at this point, we would have joined the build rats, although it does mess up occasionally. Some of these, sometimes these mobs are attackable. I don't really like these mobs that aren't supposed to be attackable or end up attackable. But we'll just try to be as consistent as possible since I don't fully understand what's happening with this. So anyway, we're definitely going to grab this pack. We definitely would grab, so that now we're waiting for lust at this point, right? We're going to pull extra trash because we're waiting for lust. We'd pull that pack. That's a patrol. These mobs are... they usually aggro anyway, so I kind of want to just route them in. Add them in, because it seems like it's bugged. If you don't pull the second boss before you do the thing, these mobs almost always seem to aggro. This pack is a little bit more consistent. We've definitely grabbed this pack by now. And then we're looking at an odd count here. So this is probably as far as we would go. One way or the other, even if we got this pack, we'd still be... The odds, like, this would have to be bugged to get any of this stuff. So I'm going to assume that we're going to either be right at 40 or still sub 40 before the second boss. I would rather be sub 40 before the second boss. So that's nice. We kill this boss and then, you know, with lust up, and then we go on to this pack. This pack is, you know, one of these mobs is definitely going to get aggro before the boss. Ideally, it would have been the Crusher. And then we can get this mob after. What do we... Oh, yeah, we clicked on this. Let's go and get rid of that. We're going to assume that we get to 40 after this second boss. Now, here we go. 43. Now, this is a relatively dangerous pack here because, again, very high volume trash. A lot of stuff is going to be coming, swarming us, but we're not going to be that far from it. So it'll be all on us quickly, and hopefully the quicker it's on us, the easier it dies. So this is good to get 40 before we go across the bridge. I was a little bit concerned about getting a split on this side, but it looks like the way it'll math out is extremely satisfactory. Let's put it that way. So we're over here. We kill these two packs. That's 51. We're going to skip this pack, but we have to pull this pack. That's 55. We're going to kill Harlan, and now we are on to the best part of the dungeon, which is the free-range trash that we have all in this area. So yeah, this is looking pretty easy. It looks like there's not really going to be any problems here. We get to 60 with this pack, and again, it looks pretty ideal. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, we could skip the rest of this stuff here. This is the patrol. Well, is this a teeming week? Oh, I'm an idiot. God damn it. I'm so sorry. I'm an idiot. Okay, well, anyway, that was a teeming week, so let's go ahead and start over. All right. Okay, let's start over. That was a teeming week that I chose like an idiot. So what is it actually? Blacktooth? This is the Brawlers. We don't want this one. But hey, you know what? This is part of Freehold, right? This is the reason Freehold is a challenging dungeon at times, because the count varies pretty much every single fix set. Okay, so we're all the way back here. So we're going to pull this pack. We're at 7. That's still 7%. That's the same. We're going to pull this pack. Again, we wouldn't have started the event yet, so that we're at mobs there as well. We're going to pull this pack. We're going to pull this pack. We're still sub 20. It's actually not any different. So maybe I was too hasty. So we'll definitely try to get 20 before this. Okay, so now at this point we would have finished up the Cutwater stuff. So one way or the other we'll get these mobs and these mobs. That's 26. We will definitely be getting these mobs. That's the patrol, and we'll definitely be getting these mobs for count while we're waiting for lust. We might also be getting these mobs. So regardless, oh, and then these mobs, of course. So regardless, we're not actually, it's not really any different at this point. So maybe, I don't know, maybe teaming doesn't really change anything up until this point. But then, you know, sometimes these mobs aggro, so we might be at 40 before this boss, but ideally, if we were, we would just eliminate this mob. Let's see actually what it looks like. If for some reason these aggro too, yeah, then we'd just be getting to 40 before this boss, so that's not a big deal. But we're going to assume that these mobs are not going to aggro, because they should not happen. That should not happen. I think it's bugged, but anyway, 38. So here we go. We get to 40, a little bit over 40, so it's going to happen in the middle of this pack. Not too bad. Then again, over here, we kill these mobs. We're still well under 60. Ideally, again, that's provided everything has gone the way I've described it up in this point. So then we'll get to 60 at this point, which is a little bit more dangerous because it looks like, well, 2 out of the 3 mobs. Let's see if this one... Yeah, 2 out of the 3 mobs is going to get us to 60 one way or the other. So as we're fighting the third one, we'll get a pretty big swarm. One of them is going to be this Crusher, which assuming is going to be the Lost Soul, the Lieutenant type mob. So that's good. So we'll get that, and, you know, whatever. That might be somewhat challenging. But then we're off to the races. We could, again, now we're back to where we want to be. We could effectively skip everything up until this point. We don't have to pull that if we don't want to. We do have to pull that mob, but then that is pretty much it. So there's no reason to even continue looking. We could get another reaping, but I think it will be best to just, even though, you know, you're spending about a minute dead on the RP, I do think skipping 2 separate reaping waves will be worth that minute. Maybe we want to try to get closer to 80. So we can pull one of these packs. This is a pack that we usually end up pulling anyway. So this is actually not a bad idea at all. Well, we're still really low on count. I feel like I must have... Oh, because it's not aggroing all of these. Yeah, so we can actually go ahead and do this. This is giving us pretty good count. Let's see. And this is with the skip out of the gate. I feel like we missed something. We must have missed something, surely. We can't be this low on count. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, one way or the other, as long as we can get to this side of, you know, this side of the dungeon with at least 2 reaping waves yet to spawn, then we are going to have plenty of time. So I don't even really need to keep watching this. So yeah, Freehold again, another pretty easy one. Atal'Dazar is definitely easier, but King's Rest, I imagine, is not going to be. So let's take a look at King's Rest. So we start the dungeon. Almost everybody's going to skip these. A lot of people might skip these as well, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that we are not doing that. So let's go ahead and fight these. That is 5%. If we have a rogue, we can skip them, though. That is nice. And then we come in here. So this is room. This room is not optional. You cannot skip anything in here. These mobs do not give count. I didn't even realize. Huh. I don't know why people skipped us. I had no idea that this did not give count. So let's just see the whole thing. So that is well over 20. So let's see. So assuming we've pulled these, this pack is not going to get us to 20. So that means we have to go this pack first, and we need to make sure that, let's see, which one is going to be last alive. This champion is, oh, this is actually perfect. This mob is almost always going to be the last thing alive. So we're going to pretty much have a free reap here. Well, now, okay, so I'm pretty sure reaping does not, we found this out, right? Reaping, it does not aggro trash. So if it runs through here, it will not aggro these mobs. This is a perfect reap, if you ask me. Only a couple mobs in the room itself, and then the rest of the mobs will straggle in. Realistically, these mobs are going to die. Yeah, they have like 1 health without the shield, so they're going to get 1 shot as soon as they come in. That's nice. These mobs might be the Lost Soul mobs. I don't know yet. And if that is the case, Any of these big mobs here are the Lost Soul mobs. This is going to be a really tough reap in terms of mob count, but in terms of like the mob type, but the actual density of the mob is going to be extremely low. So anyway, again, let's actually assume we didn't pull those. If that's the case, then we have an even better reap. Then it's just these mobs, and that'll be ideal because this pack wouldn't have come either because we have skipped it. So it would actually be perfect to skip these if you can. So one way or the other, you're only over count if you pull these. There's nothing really else to skip in here. But I know a lot of people try to do it later on in the dungeon. Now this room scares me because this can be random. So we have no idea. Let's go ahead and just assume that all of these have been killed. So we're up to 52%. So let's start thinking about different orders here. So if it's this one and this one first, that is still not 40. If it's this one and this one first, that is still not 40. If it's this one and this one first, that is 40. All right, so let's try a different combination. So if this one and this one, that's 40. Yeah, this one is always going to be, if this one's first, it's always 40. If this one's the first two, it's always going to be 40. So one way or the other, we're going to have reaping in the middle of this gauntlet. And this might be one of the hardest reaps in the game because I have to assume that the named mobs on each of these packs will definitely be a Lost Soul, a Lieutenant mob, if that's, I'm pretty sure that's the name of it, right? One way or the other, I have to assume that definitely will be. I don't know exactly what other mobs might be, but I have to assume that these ones will be. So we're potentially dealing with, again, if it's these two first, then we're potentially dealing with 3 of these first. Okay, and that's going to be a tough reap one way or the other. Later on, it'd be even worse, though, if these 2 mobs come. So, yeah, this is definitely, I think this might be one of the hardest reaps in the game. But, yeah, so we've gotten to this point. We're at 55. Let's go ahead and assume we've skipped these and change. Yeah, so they don't change that much one way or the other. And now in this room, this is where things get a little bit more complicated. But, okay, so this should be pretty easy to deal with. In case you guys don't know, all of these mobs are basically solo. They're tethered on the add-on, but you can death grip them, you can solo pull them. So this should be a very easy split to reap off because you're going to have all of these optional. Every one of these is split pullable from at least my testing. I don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure that's the case. So no matter where you're at in this room, you're going to be able to control reap very well. You shouldn't be in combat. But now, let's pull the rest of the room like we have to anyway. We're into the 68-ish area. This is a bad reap right here. It's going to be a tough one. Let's go ahead and see what we got here. It's not actually that bad as a blood DK. Let's go ahead and see. We're going to assume, well, any of these will get us to 70. Now, again, this is assuming we didn't skip it. Let's go ahead and skip it just to see. Because this will be a much better reap. Not really that much better. It's definitely better, though, because we can mind control the Berserk. Either way, we can mind control one of these mobs. So you're either going to have, if you don't skip those 2 guys out of the gate, you're going to have a reaping either in the middle of this pack or in the middle of this pack. Better in the middle of this pack for sure, but this pack isn't that bad. Either one is not that bad because you can mind control the Berserker again, okay? So that's really good as a blood DK, and that's something I will definitely be doing if we're going to have reaping in the middle of the pack. So that's, one way or the other, we're going to have another reap in this hallway. So let's just carry on like we did not pull those early mobs. That's 73. Ideally, we'll mind control this Beastmaster. So let's do this and get rid of that. That's 76. And the Pat will get us to 80. So this is, again, with skipping these. If we don't skip them, the Pat will not be needed to get us to 80. Okay, that's perfect. This is actually good, too. Either way, this is, it doesn't work out that differently. One way or the other. We just need to make sure we swerve the Pat, which is not as easy as it sounds, that's for sure. But yeah, let's continue. And then, this is pretty much it because there's no way to get count after the dungeon, to my knowledge. I guess you can. I don't know. I don't really know how people skip this. So you guys tell me down below. This is a dungeon that I pretty much never skip anything on, so it doesn't really matter what happens at this point. We're going to have reaping in the middle of this pack one way or the other if we do not skip it. So... well, maybe not actually. Skip these. Skip these, and we'll have reaping after this pack. Oh, that's actually perfect. Yeah, okay, so it really looks like you want to skip these, even if it's just for count. It actually gives perfect count, but then you got to kill Zul. Zul does give count. So yeah, there is no way. I don't know if there's a way to get count after the dungeon in this one. But then ideally we'd have this Beastmaster with us the whole time. But yeah, so the early reaps aren't, the first reap's easy, and the second reap is what I'm really scared about in King's Rest. So we'll see how that goes. But let's move on. Shrine of the Storm. That's not where we start. Where do we start? Up here. Again, a very awkward layout. Okay, so this is always going to get pulled one way or the other. This pack gives 0.9%. And this is really, Shrine of the Storm, really, really dangerous dungeon for reaping. I'm going to tell you why. Because all of these mobs are going to get reaped, and all of these mobs, and they give very, 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 very little count. So you're just going to get blasted by these. As you saw, we actually did this live. We absolutely got destroyed by this reap. We did aggro this mob, so let's just assume we've aggroed it. I feel like sometimes you do want to aggro it, because if you skip extra here. So let's go ahead and aggro it. Let's go ahead and aggro it. I think we want to do this. So we're going to pull these two, and then all of these are going to get probably aggroed. Maybe we could skip them. It'd probably be a good idea, because you get almost nothing from them, and all you got to do is just death grip the mob away from them, and then interrupt the other one or whatever. So let's go ahead and assume that. Now, at times I've gone this way. At times I've gone this way. This mob pats. So let's go ahead and assume we're going this way again. We could jump down here. We could swerve these mobs. So this is a slightly lighter count. And we could swerve these. So I'm definitely thinking going this way is now the better choice. And assuming we'll end up aggroing this Templar at some point. But you could swerve these mobs. You could swerve these mobs. And then you got to pull these. You can sneak by if somebody CCs. But I do think we need the count. So we're going to do that. A lot of people have been skipping this pack with Road Shroud. But I'm just going to assume that we're not skipping it. And then we're still, look at that. So we're still sub 20 before this first boss. This would be ideal. If we could sub 20 before this first boss, this would be ideal. We really, really do not want to be at 20% right after this pack. Because you know what's going to happen? The boss is going to aggro as we're dealing with the reap. And that is going to be a mess. There's no way these mobs are going to get to us by the time this pack is going to die. It's going to take forever for these mobs to get to us. So we really got to be cautious. We definitely don't want to pull this mob. Well, I don't know. It's harder to skip him than it looks, but it should be doable. We just got to sit there and wait. Definitely want to skip this mob, and if we can, we want to skip this mob. But one way or the other, even if we pull all of this, I guess we can skip that mob, so that's even more. So yeah, maybe it's better to skip that. You can CC it with the Demon Hunter, etc. Or you can just walk by it at times. So yeah, one way or the other, it should be comfortable to be under 20 and then be over 20 after the boss. That would be ideal. This pack here sends you over 20. Extremely easy pack. There's only 2 mobs no matter what. Even though the reaping is going to come flooding from the dungeon start, this should be a lot better. The mistake we made when I did this on live stream, we pulled all of these and went this way. We got all of this here. So we got swarmed with all of these, and all of these. I think we actually aggroed these as well. So not good. That's a lot of mobs. But, if we don't, let's go and take a look. Okay, so if you aggro these, yeah, I guess it's probably better to just... No, that's actually 20, no matter what. So you really want to be careful here. Otherwise, you definitely got to skip this mob. This is dangerous, man. I'm telling you. You're going to have to skip something out of the gate. But anyway, let's just go ahead and assume that we've done this right. It's not hard to do, but people do accidentally pull it all the time. Okay, now down here, these guys give it a normal amount of count. That is, yeah, okay, so that's fine. Kill that mob, we're killing this patrol, we're killing this patrol, we're killing this big mob. Okay, we're still well under 40, even with the errors there. Okay, so it definitely looks like at this point, we're going to be at 40 before this guy. That's good. I quite like that, and this is actually great count. It's right at 40. So this is pretty ideal, but this is again assuming we aggroed. We didn't aggro these. Yeah, okay, one way or the other, it's going to trade off. So we're going to be at about 40 here. It looks like we should never really be in too much danger with this pack. At worst, we'd probably be over a couple percent. We'd have 1 mob up. Having a 1 mob up here is not the end of the world. Let's see. They each give about, yeah, they all give the same, 1.36, so that's good. And then, we're going to fight this mob, and then we're going to fight this guy, and then we're going to fight all this nonsense, and this guy, and this pack, and all this stuff. A lot of people grab this. Oh, no, this is the pack. We're definitely getting that. A lot of people grab this pack, too. That actually gets us to 60 before the boss using this current route. So that's not bad. It's not a bad idea, but I think I'll swerve this pack because I would much rather get 60 on this side of the boss. Oh, this doesn't even get us 60. Yeah, because these guys give very little. Where's this patrol? This is still not 60. Huh. That is unfortunate. Well, it's not really, because it is, kind of. Because these guys are definitely going to die before this main guy. That is well over 60. Okay, so maybe it's better to... I think we really do want to get this pack anyway, so let's go ahead and see what it looks like. All right, so that gives us 60 before the boss, which, again, I really think getting it right before the boss is not going to be a good idea. People are going to be baited into using their CDs on Reaping, especially in Pugs, so you want to have them up for the boss. And that might cause, like, some awkward routes. But anyway, so let's say that's probably the right choice, okay? So let's see what the count looks like after this. All right, so we're going to pull all this stuff, all this stuff. We're definitely pulling these. They're unskippable to my knowledge. And this is where we would start skipping. So I think this does look pretty good. We could skip this entirety with the rogue. Almost always are going to skip this with a rogue or just a death run. These mobs are so dangerous. If you had to pull them, you're still not at 80. And any one of these packs, still not at 80. So usually you want to grab one of these packs because you're a little messed up on count. How do we go in here? Let's see. Storm's End. Okay, so now we're in. So now here we go. Now we're inside. So if we skipped all that, we definitely need all these. Still not at 80. So this is where things are going to get a little messy. Let's just go ahead and make sure we actually have count before we even say anything else. This is not count, I don't think. Nah, we don't have count. So yeah, we need one of those other packs. It's going to be this pack anyway. Let's go ahead and get that. Usually a lot of people grab that pack. If not, there wasn't really any other options. This mob is not going to get us there anyway. It's not alone, so we would have needed another whole pack. But the good thing about Shrine of the Storm is you can easily finish count after the boss in here. So as much as we're laboring over this situation, it's not that bad. Okay, so okay, this is perfect. So we come in here, 78%. We're going to kill this left pack first. In the middle of it, we're going to get Reaping, but a lot of them are going to come from so far away that we won't have any trouble dealing with them. Then we'll get this pack and move on to boss. This is actually real easy. The end of this is going to be real easy. And then we're going to finish it up in here. Whatever, we just kill all of these. We can kill all of these after the boss. This pack is going to get pulled. Maybe this one too. But one way or the other, very easy to leave one pack up. And voila, we have now skipped the final wave of Reaping. So it's going to be very easy in Shrine of the Storm. But some of the early ones are a little fiddly. Let me know how you guys feel about some of these. Okay, Siege of Boralus. That's funny they got a different alliance route, huh? Man, I can't believe this. I had no idea that this was the case, but look at it, it's all different. That is crazy, man. I had no idea that this was the case. Wait a second. This is where the alliance starts? No, this is where Horde starts. That's where Horde starts. Alliance does not, I don't even know where Alliance starts, honestly. Do they start like up here or something, don't they? I don't know. Anyway, I'm pretty this is the first pack for us. Okay, so we're starting over here. 2%. All of this is going to be very little percent. Not going to have any time to have Reaping, I think, before this first boss, I don't feel like. Just assume we're pulling everything. I don't think, yeah, really not going to be skipping anything. Still well under 20. Oh, okay, so this is where things get a little dicey. This first pack that Reaping is going to happen on is going to actually be this pack. It's a semi-dangerous pack. And it's going to be a lot of stuff. I don't think there's any way to swerve this. I mean, we could skip some of this stuff, but these ones don't need to be pulled. I think they do. I think they're blocked. These ones don't need to be pulled, I think. Anyway, it's definitely going to happen at or around this pack. Semi-dangerous, but it's not that bad. It's just that this guy is pretty much always going to be the last alive, and it looks like it won't matter no matter what. We will definitely have 20% while we're fighting this guy. So it's going to be a little dangerous. A lot of these little yellow mobs, but I don't know what's going to happen because these gutters, they are probably going to reap as well, but they have I don't know. They die in one hit from the footmen, but I do think they actually have a decent amount of health, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, we're easy mode after that. We're pulling all this stuff. This is... Wait, where's the patrol? Oh, that's the patrol. Okay, we're not pulling these. These are the ones that are just against the corner. He has that bomber mob. Okay, so we're pulling this pack. Usually pull this pack. We usually skip this guy. The patrol is often aggroed one way or the other, so we'll assume we'll get it. I don't know where these mobs are. I didn't even know there was mobs over there. Anyway, we'll pull this. This is now going up to the spotter. And the spotter is going to still not be 40. Okay, let's see. We got to pull that pack. That's 40. Okay, now there's a spotter. I wonder if we can... that is not 40. Well, we could have pulled this guy. That is 40. We could have pulled this pack stuff over here. I just don't know if the spotter is going to deal damage. What do you guys think? I don't know. I don't know if the spotter is going to deal damage to them. So we'll definitely have to consider it a possibility. If that's the case, then that would be overpowered. You definitely want to have the spotter up. Otherwise, you need to pretty much kill it. Otherwise, you'd have to pull this mob. That is well over 40. So then these mobs would be alive, but the spotter would just be decimated. I don't know. I don't really know. This is a dungeon. I don't really metagame very well. Let's put it that way. I know a lot of people metagame the spotter to crazy ends, but I do not usually. So anyway, we'll just assume we're getting only a little bit of this stuff. It's probably not going to make that much of a difference. I get all of this. It's a lot of stuff here. Okay, that's everything. Okay, yeah, that's all these mobs here. So this is still under 60 one way or the other. That is, yeah, that's with the spotter dead. That's with everything dead, right? Yeah. We haven't like done any shenanigans here. Okay, so that is 60. Even if we pulled that, we're just at 60. But yeah, you're not gonna pull that mob. Okay, so that's good. So we're gonna be killing this boss and then going right to 60. That is perfect. That's ideal. We could have gotten a little closer if we pull. There's a bunch of mobs here. One way or the other, we're still under 60. So it's not. I'm not usually going down this far to get these. But yeah, we're definitely going to assume that this guy is going to give us 60. And then this is the patrol. Oh, this is not even... I'm confused. Is this the mob? I feel like these are not in the right position. This does not look like where these mobs actually are. I'm a bit lost here, honestly. But... one way or the other, I know there's this patrolling mob. I don't think this is him. I think this is the one. This is the one that's patrolling. Yes, this is the way we come out. I see. Let me take a look at teeming quick. Is that going to reset everything? I think it might. Yeah, okay. It doesn't. Yeah, this is the area. Okay, I was getting a bit confused by where the map was. All right, so this is the area you come up. Here's the guy shooting at you or whatever. It's like up here. So this is the mob that we're going to pull. Not this one. Not yet, anyway. Okay, so this is the one that's... I feel like they didn't do a good job putting these on the map. Anyway, so we're getting these, and then this is part of this pack, I'm pretty sure. It's a bit confusing, man. I don't know. They didn't do a very good job putting these mobs on the map. I can't tell if this is the... There's like... I think these are the monkeys that are hanging... Yeah, these are the monkeys that are hanging out on the side here. So yeah, anyway. This was 60 one way or the other, so you're definitely reaping at this point, which is perfect. And then we don't look like we're going to have any trouble with it again for a while. That pack. Here's this padding one. A lot of times we get some of these, but we'll assume we're not. Looks like we're going to reap about this point, which is definitely dangerous. Let's see what happens. We get some of these. I don't really know because it depends on the count. Well, again, it's going to happen in the middle. I guess you can get only 2 of these. Doesn't really help, though. You can get to 80 before you go this way. I feel like this pack is one of the harder packs in here. So maybe it's better to just avoid. As long as we have count, that's the thing. You can get these for count, so it's probably a good idea. So yeah, anyway, the reap is going to happen in the middle of this pack. So let's take a look. Which one of these? Usually the banana guys are the last ones up. Yeah, so that's going to be dangerous. They're going to be the last 2 up. Actually, it's not that bad if that's the case, because then we'll be at 80 while we're fighting them, if that does actually work that way. I don't know. It's going to be a hard thing to tell in this dungeon because there's so many different small mobs that you might get a small amount of percent from. We'll assume we're skipping that. Here's another spotter pack. This is the one where everybody starts really cheesing it hard. So, oh, we're at 88 already, huh? Gives a lot of count, these 2 packs. Interesting. 88 already, so that means we're definitely going to have it before the... Yeah, I mean, we're going to be over count with this. What did we aggro that we didn't need to? I feel like I usually am this over count in this dungeon. Guess it's just some of these mobs early here. No, these you can't skip those. I don't know. Well, either way, I definitely, you really, I don't think... No, that's not true at all. We've pulled something extra, and I don't know where it is. These mobs are confusing me. I don't think all of these are being aggro, but I can't really tell because they're in this really awkward spot on the map. So sorry about this, but something here is not being aggroed, surely. A lot of the time, let's put it this way. A lot of the times... we get this all done and we do not have count. And I don't know why we have so much count when I'm looking at it right now. I honestly can't tell, but I guess that's a failure on my part, but I can't tell what we pulled that we didn't need to pull. Maybe this pat or something, but I don't know. This dungeon doesn't really scare me with reaping. This first reap is going to be interesting. Oh, well, this because this is not. Either way, that's even more count now. I don't know. Yeah, the first reap is going to be difficult. That's for sure, because it's going to be a lot of this trashy yellow mobs that are going to come all the way. I mean, look at this. How is this pack going to even get to us? It is so far away to get to where we eventually end up are going to fight it. It's going to be crazy. But at the end, I don't really fear, especially if the spotter is manipulatable. Manipulatable? I don't really know. So let's just go ahead and move on it. Honestly, guys, Siege of Boralus is not a dungeon I've spent a lot of time in. So you guys, let me know how you guys feel about Siege of Boralus, and you can tell me a little bit more about your routes. Oops. Anyway, okay, so here we go. Sethralis. This is actually the start of the dungeon. Yeah, okay. Start of the dungeon. We definitely are pulling these. A lot of people are going to skip some of these, but we're just going to assume we don't. It's very risky to skip. You really can only skip these 2 packs. You barely make it down here. You need a bit of a strat, let's put it that way, to make it down that way. So we're just going to go ahead and assume we're pulling all this stuff like I might do normally. And that is 20. That's actually perfect. That is 20 even. 20 on the dot. Now, isn't there a patrol? Or is that only maybe on teeming or something? Yeah, that's only on teeming. Teeming changes everything, guys. I'm not going to talk about teeming here today because it's going to change everything. It would need to be its own video. And we can make one eventually. But for now, I just want to look at every other week besides teeming. So this is actually 20 on the dot, it looks like. And that is interesting. So it definitely seems like a good idea here. Very few mobs. Assuming, again, this big ogre guy here is going to be... It's not an ogre, of course. It's a troll. But anyway, this big troll is going to be... part of whatever, the lost soul type, so he's gonna be somewhat dangerous. Okay, so anyway, so we got that. I don't, these mobs, what the hell, these mobs are actually here. I don't even know what these mobs are. Anyway, we're gonna pull these. We gotta pull these. Oh, this is that patrolling yellow mob or whatever, so we definitely gotta pull that. Still 26, well under. Gotta pull this guy riding the crocolisk. Easy. 35 still at this point, no problems here. Sometimes you get this one. This is the one that roams around a bit, but we're just gonna assume we don't get him. Still under 40, so it's interesting. This is a tough pack here, not really, but it's a pain in the ass pack because these mobs are gonna do that dust cloud, and this is a caster mob, so it's a ranged mob here. So if for some reason you're over 40 at this point, which unless I miscalculated, it doesn't look like. I mean, there's only so many, but you can't really skip anything in this dungeon here early unless you actually shroud it. And you're not going to pull extra by accident, I don't think. So, unless I'm confused about a pad or something. Yeah, I don't know. That's that. So we get this, and then we're definitely going to be well under 40. So this mob is actually going to give us 40. This is ideal. This actually gives us 42 as well. So this is perfect. Because from what I can see, the mob that gives you count does not count for the next one. That was my testing. I'm not 100% sure if that's true, but if you had like 39.9 and you killed a mob that gave 10% or 11%, you would skip a whole wave, seemingly. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case, but anyway, let's go ahead and assume that. That is going to give us 40, which is ideal, and then we're just going to get everything else in here because there's no way. Actually, it looks like we are definitely going to get to 60. Okay, so let's plan this out a little bit more. Alright, so we're going to get to 60 in this room, which might be a problem. Alright, so this is 45. This pack is usually the last pack. This is the 3. This one's usually a little bit tough. So we're going to go around the outside usually. Definitely getting these. Oh, this is ideal. Wow, this is perfect. Okay, so some of these math out really well, and I really hope I'm not making an error with this. But if we can pull the entire outside, which is usually what I do anyway, this is usually the last thing we pull. They're all solos. All of these mobs are solo. Maybe you might fight 2 of these at once, but I don't like this one is definitely going to be one of the last mobs you fight. So as long as I'm not grievously miscalculating something here, this room is going to be perfect. This is the perfect reaping room. As long as you don't get swarmed and accidentally run into these mobs, you have a perfect reap. So that's ideal. Okay, so we fought this boss, killed it with 65. We're going to fight these. Can't really do much down here. Okay, now these mobs can be solo pulled and skipped. They pat a bit. Again, they don't show it on the map thing, but they do patrol. We are looking at skipping at least one of these, but let's just assume we're skipping both of them at this point since we didn't skip anything on the front. So we're definitely fighting these. We're definitely fighting these. And that's going to be 80. Well, that's well over 80. Okay, let's shroud, or not shroud, swerve that one. So maybe it's best if we pulled... This would be ideal if we got one of these. Got one of these, and then we're at 80 here. then we can pull these. That would be ideal. But then we're over count. I mean, it's like to the point, like, I don't know, you guys have to answer this question for me. Is it worth going over count to have better reapings? I don't know the answer to that. I think that probably the answer is going to be no, right? Surely it seems that way. But I don't know. I don't know. So we definitely, I feel like, you know, getting 80 at this point is not what you want. It's going to happen with one of these mobs. So 2 of them are going to be up. And these guys are kind of pesky. I don't know. It depends too what's actually considered a lost soul in here. These mobs might be considered a lost soul. There's not a lot of big mobs in this dungeon, so I don't know what can be. So we have to learn that too. But one way or the other, I'm kind of leaning towards. You're kind of, yeah. You know what? What am I talking about? You rarely ever skip both of these. I almost always aggro this one, and then we just skip this one. So this seems perfect. If this mats out this way, then that seems like where we'll be, and then we're gonna be over count. But the good thing is we can actually forget about the rest of the count. These mobs give count. Oh, this guy. Oh yeah. Okay, forget it. Well, if we don't shroud anything, we're not going to be able to do that. We'd have to shroud something at the start, and I don't know. Again, I don't really have a lot of success with shrouding at the start. You could have done it, and then it's going to change everything about what we just talked about here. And that's why this is tough. This is why reaping is going to be a very unique fix. And then you would just skip everything else. These still give count, though. Usually you're just over. But it's not really that big of a deal in this dungeon because you got to fight these anyway, and as long as you shroud this bridge here or skip it, you can skip it with Death Run or something, I guess, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. This dungeon, I don't think we're going to have much trouble with it in terms of reaping, because a lot of the reaping looks like it's going to happen in very open areas. As long as, you know, we don't aggro any of extra stuff here, I think we're going to be, especially this first reap. If you don't, let's go ahead and assume we're skipping this then. So we normally pull this pack and then skip these 2. So let's see what we're looking at, like a count here. Let's go to the end of the dungeon. Usually what they would do if you skip this is you would come back and get these mobs. Actually, it looks like we missed something else though. That's right. So they would have not skipped this mob. They would have aggroed this as well to make sure you have count. If that's the case, then it's an even easier finish. It's not a bad idea. Double shroud. You could skip, you know, go here, kill these, and then you could use the buff to pull these. It's actually very easy to do that. So that is going to not only give you reaping pretty much while, like, well, first of all, you're going to actually probably get reaping for a little bit, reaping mobs, because these mobs will be reaped. These mobs will reap, but you have this massive damage buff, so you're just going to destroy them, you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's see. Let's move on. Motherlode, we still got a couple more dungeons here. What is this? Okay, so let's go ahead and what is all this stuff? So I was looking at it before. Okay, so Motherlode's another unique duck here because we have a lot of trash in this dungeon, and it varies route-wise week to week, but a lot of that variance is because of the current Season 1 effect. So we're going to assume that I'm going to pull this the same way every time, okay? Let's go through it piece by piece here. Obviously, you're going to pull this. Obviously, you're going to pull this. Normally, I would not pull this. I would pull these 2 together. That's still a very low count. We're going to get these 2. That's only 9%. Here's another one. I am on teeming again. Oops. Was I in teeming for the last dungeon? Am I just like absolutely retarded? I guess I probably am, to be honest. Let's go ahead and clear and start over because that is definitely more than what I expected. All right, so we're pulling all this stuff together anyway. 5%. Go ahead and do that. 10%. Still really odd. This mob is obviously getting pulled. 14, that's 18. Is that really everything? The thing is, these mobs, they don't give count, and you're going to almost always aggro some here. This is where things get really squirrely here, guys, because these mobs give 0 count, but they will reap, and they will swarm you. Like, if you aggro, a lot of people aggro, like, all of these. They aggro all of these. Like, you know, what was this? 8 mobs here. And then they'll aggro all of these ones down here. You know, another big pack of them. These are going to be dangerous, man. But it does look like we're going to get reaping around this area. Now, when I did this in... This is why I'm confused. Because when I did this on the PTR, we had reaping very early, I thought. Guess we probably aggroed this. Let's see. Not sure what we did wrong here in terms of the count. I don't know. This add-on I'm not in love with, honestly. We definitely had reaping before. I could have swore we had reaping before we left this area. But that claims it's only 12%. Even this guy's not going to give anywhere near 20. So a lot of people would grab all of these as one. Let this guy spawn and lust. That's not a bad idea, but I don't do it. So let's just continue operating under the idea that we're doing something right, which I think I might not be, but anyway. I don't know. I'm a little bit confused just because I felt like we had reaping much earlier in the dungeon when we did this on the PTR, but that's why we're learning it together. So that means reaping is going to happen here for the first time. I feel like I have to be doing something wrong with this. Don't know how. But anyway, okay, so yeah, let's assume this is right. So that means the first reap is going to be down here. This is actually not that bad. It is going to be kind of rough, though, because this guy is definitely a lieutenant type mob or whatever, and mobs are going to come from all the way at the start, so they're going to funnel in pretty harshly. Then we will pull this pack, and then we will pull this pack. That's 28. The nice thing, yeah, see, this just didn't happen. Something is wrong with this. I don't know. Nah, I guess we're good. I don't know. We're just going to operate under the guise that this is working properly. I don't know why I'm like tripping on this, but I feel like I messed something up here. So anyway, what we had happen was we had another really bad reap on this side of the dungeon. So this does look like, you know, if it does math out this way, this is where we'll be. Let's just go through this whole dungeon because I feel like this is not right. What is that? Okay, this is, something's wrong here. Oh, this is the way, of course. Anyway, let's go ahead and get all this just to make sure that my route gives 100% count, because if it doesn't, then I've done something wrong here. Obviously, we don't pull these. This is the left side. We pull these and these. Pull these and these. This is one pack, technically. Wait, what is that? Oh, that's an alchemist. Mastermind, we're pulling all of this. We're pulling all of this. Yeah, alchemist. It's just so hard to tell where we are. I don't think we feel like that pack is not there, so I don't even know what this is. It's a bit confusing. I am confused. Oh, this is the way we're going. Yeah, we're not going this way, of course. This alchemist we don't, or this mastermind we don't pull. That's right. We pull this pack and then we pull this pack. Okay. All right. So once again, I'm just making sure that we actually have count here. The odd thing about this is this graveyard. Once you kill this boss, Bwonsamdi's sitting right next to this pack. So if you're over time at this point and you want to get Bwonsamdi's buff, you have to kill this pack, which is kind of troll. But this is where things get really squirrely because these bombs give count and they'll spawn, you know, if you're standing next to them. So anyway, let's go ahead and pull all this stuff and all this stuff. Yep, this is my exact route. Okay, yeah, this is my exact route, 100%. Okay, so I guess I don't know why I was tripping about this early, but yeah, I guess we're all set. Let's go all the way to the back and start over, because obviously I was not. It was unfounded for me to be upset. So I guess just something went wrong early. We pulled extra trash when we did this on the PTR. I'm gonna have to take a look at it, but we won't have the first reap until well into, you know, almost right up until the first boss here. Now, this pack is actually not an ideal pack to have reaping on, because there's two dangerous mobs here. Well, semi-dangerous. The assassin is dangerous, and he will probably be the last alive. One way or the other, one of these. So if this one's the last alive, which is often, we actually have a perfect reap. So if that happens, that's ideal. And then after that, we won't have another reap for quite a while, looks like. These mobs are easy to avoid, and we'll have a reap up here. So that'd be perfect. If this works out this way that the math is indicating, then this is a perfect reap yet again. We'll have probably one of these Earth Shapers last alive. And doesn't look like, yeah, no matter what, the last mob is going to reap us. That's perfect. That is ideal. And then we'll pull all this together. Especially without infested, we can get all of this together. These sharks, they give count? Huh. I never went down in there. It's interesting. Anyway, this pack is rough, but I was worried. The main reason I wanted to do this was because I was worried about dungeon trash like this. Reaping on some of this trash would be a mess. Looks like no matter what, I mean, 50%, there's pretty much no way, with my route that is, there's pretty much no way that you're going to reap here. A lot of people are well over 50. They're like 70 or 80 at this point because they're trying to skip the rest. And maybe they're close to 100 at this point. So they're going to have to deal with a lot of reaping early. And that's, another reason why I like doing my route, I guess. But anyway, so let's see. This is the pack we'd pull. We get those. We get these. Looks like 60 is going to be the rats. It's pretty much ideal. Again, that's pretty much perfect. Provided all of these. Sometimes you might get one of these mobs. So if that's the case, that's not a big thing either, because in this pack, is it? It's usually going to be this tester last. Yes, this is perfect. A lot of this mats out extremely easily. There's not really any big danger packs that I'm worried about in this dungeon here, in terms of reaping, that is. That's that 3 pull. That's the 2 pull. That's the wandering mastermind that we normally get with this 3 pull. So we'll grab this one. I think it's this assistant. He walks back and forth, right? I'm still a little bit confused. Yeah, okay. This one we pull. We don't pull this one. This is a part. This we do pull. This is the double testers. Okay, and this is at 70. So again, we're pretty safe. 77. Yeah, it looks pretty good, man. I mean, there's not really a lot of, like, we'd have to pull something really. Yeah, we'd have to have pulled a lot of extra stuff. Definitely possible, but this is the scary one. Let's see what we could have possibly done. If we actually mess this up here. This pack sometimes gets aggroed. This pack, we'd have to really pull both of them, wouldn't we? Well, this pack sometimes gets aggroed. Then that puts us at 80. During this pack. That's not actually that bad. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. This is actually working out fine. This is actually not bad at all, man. It's not bad at all. And then definitely possible to get count after the dungeon, one way or the other. So we don't even need to look at this. Well, you know, a lot of people do skip this. They would have 100% before this, but I think you're going to see a lot of people changing their idea. A lot of people changing their ideas. You're going to see them pulling maybe 95 and then coming back or something. I don't know. This pack is particularly painful, but if we can get everything else, just assume the bombs, whatever, get everything else here. We're going to be well under 90. We're going to be well under 100 coming into this pack. And that's that. Then we can skip this. We don't even need a shroud. We don't need any silly tactics. I can grab it and run over here, and then others can just sneak by, and then we can come back and get it after that. And that's it. So yeah, this one is Motherlode. I don't know why I was freaking out about the count, but I think that one's going to be pretty easy. Okay, Underrot. I don't know what this is. Let's delete this. How do we delete this? Clear preset. Some kind of... Okay, there we go. All right, so Underrot's a particularly interesting one as well because there's a lot of optional trash in here. We're definitely opening with these two, one way or the other, definitely getting these. A lot of people used to skip these, but that's not really on the docket anymore now that they changed it. So this is actually quite bad. Wait, no, we don't. We're not going this way. That's the thing. These mobs are the two on this side. We do not want to pull those. This is teeming again. Why does it keep going to teeming? Shit, man. Okay, start over. All right, so we got these two. All right, we're swerving that side. We're going this way, one way or the other, and that is going to be 20. So it's very likely that it's going to be either the Blood Priest or the Mask left. It's the Mask. Well, one way or the other, we're going to be over 20. So this pack is relatively going to be problematic. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it can't be that bad. The Mask is problematic, but as long as, these mobs will take a while to get here. So one way or the other, we're definitely going to have a reap before this first boss. Unless we do some kind of stupid skipping. I don't really think people do that anymore. So that's good. Get a reap out of the way, I guess. As long as people don't use their CDs, we'll have everything for the boss. We do that. That's easy. Then we go this way. We're going this way. We're skipping that stuff. We're going this way. This is where things are going to get a little awkward because this room is, again, it's all free range. You can basically take anything you want here, and a lot of it's split pullable. So it looks like this is a pack that you might also see pulled together. One of these guys, two of these guys. But, a lot of it's split pullable, so shouldn't have really any problems in this room. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that no matter what you do in this room, you're gonna be able to control the second reap pretty well. I don't know what the hell these are doing here. These have to be part of the room. I don't even know they're like outside the room on the thing. I don't understand. Anyway, that's that. Okay, so 65. Wait, we're already at 60? What the hell? Oh, shit. So we're going to get 2 reapings in that room, this room. That's actually perfect. I didn't even realize. That's actually perfect. This is actually really good because this room is very free. Like I said, you can basically... there's a couple, like these two might come together. But one way or the other, that's a pretty wide open room. So we shouldn't have any problems. Okay, so that's 60 one way or the other. I don't know what these mobs are doing. I guess they're part of the room. I don't know why they're off to the side here, but I'm pretty sure they are. So we normally have pulled this pack too before we fight the boss. Anyway, we're still not we're not worried about that. 73, 76, 78, and 80. Although that's not great. That is not great. I don't think you're really able to skip. This is that patrol, but almost always aggro it. Looks like we're definitely going to have 80 down here, and it's very likely going to be in the middle of the pack. And I worry that these defilers are going to be a lieutenant type mob. So having one up while you're fighting the other one as a lieutenant is going to be tough. This might be tough. This might be a tough part here. Well, actually, hold on a second. A lot of people would pull these. That's even worse. Let's go ahead and... So we get these, and then we get these. That's actually pretty good. 89 at this point, if this is all right. It's just so difficult because it's so I can't really tell. I'm pretty sure I've done the right things, but you guys will let me know, I'm sure. There's mobs down here, which I think you could aggro those. So yeah, that's not bad. This one is always going to be the last one, so that's pretty good. The problem is getting these without getting these is sometimes difficult. This pack, it makes it look like it doesn't go up as high, but it goes up almost right to here. This pack only goes up to right here, so it's very likely that you'll get these first. If that's the case, then this is not a good pack here at all. Well, I guess you got to just try to get these first. You're going to have to pull them back, maybe. And that would be ideal, though. If you can swerve, worrying about these. Then we're all set, 91%, as long as we have Shroud. A lot of people are going to be pulling these, and that's it, essentially. But... that's not actually a good thing. Because we need these. You need to kill these one way or the other. That's perfect. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's perfect. That's perfect count right there. 100%. Wow, that's interesting. I never noticed that. So if you pull all this, and then these two you got to pull anyway if you're going to Shroud. I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to skip both of them. I guess you could, but yeah. Usually people would kind of roll up the corner here, skip this pack, and then Shroud here and go all the way down. And then these mobs are here. Now... we've had this discussion. It's one of the dungeons I definitely want to talk about. We've had this discussion a good amount where people are saying that you can or you cannot go downstairs with mobs. Or more so, without 100% count. That was really how it started. I've never seen mobs go down there one way or the other. I've seen them always reset. So no matter what happens, I think you're going to skip this last wave. Right? Unless you're like well over... 100, can't get spam with messages today. Unless you're well over 100% before you go down, which is definitely possible in this dungeon. If you don't have a rogue, you're definitely going to happen. So we're just assuming we have a rogue. Anyway, I don't know. So yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to take reaping downstairs. So one way or the other, I think as long as these are the last mobs you kill and you can go downstairs with them, reaping is trivial. But the thing that people were talking about was if you don't, say you like, I don't know, you skip these or something like that, you go you go downstairs and you don't have 100% count, what do you do then? Apparently there's a NPC that will port you back up somewhere, but I don't know where it is. I don't know. I'm not sure. There's a bunch of other things you can consider in here as well. There's this like, yeah, this shortcut that takes you across here, but when does it unlock? After Spore Collar. So that's pointless. I mean, what you could do is invis all this or something. You could skip all this. I don't really know. Like, I'm not really sure what's going on here. Let's try to finish this. I don't want to... This conversation on the screen. I'll read that later. Anyway, so yeah, Underrot is a big one because a lot of discussion about how the ending is going to look. But if it works the way I think it's going to work, you're always going to skip the last reaping set, and that sounds like a win-win to me. Okay, so it is not teeming. Good. All right, so here's Tol Dagor, another finicky count dungeon. Relies on a rogue yet again. We're always going to pull these. Do I pull these? I don't think so. No, we just pull these just to get them out of the way. I mean, maybe that's not even them. I'm confused. I don't like this map situation. Now, we don't pull these. We pull these. These are the ones. We skip these, pull these. That's right. Okay, so we're pulling this pack, then we're pulling boss. Then we're going inside, which we need to use drop-down menu, the drain. Okay, we're pulling these, obviously that comes out. Normally, almost 99% of the time you are not going this way, so we'll just assume we are not going this way. Iron Tide Thug. That is not where we would come out. I'm confused. Oh, no. Oh, you come out here. That's right. You go underneath this and come out this way. So you normally swerve this guy and grab this guy. We go up the stairs. This map is going to be the death of me. We're definitely pulling this. Oftentimes you'll get these, but it is more problematic when it was infested. What's these maps? Possible spawn locations. Anyway, yeah, we're not going to pull those now that infested's out of the gate, I guess. A lot of times you grab these by accident. In fact, I think you need these, so let's just go ahead and get them. We're still under 20. I feel like that's impossible. These give almost nothing. They do give nothing. Oh, okay. So pulling these is always bad. I thought they at least gave something. Interesting. I haven't really been pulling this. Just almost never get any of this stuff. These are going to aggro, but you're not really going to... They give no count anyway. Assuming we're going this way, up the stairs. Wait, this is a lock gate, and this is the way we go. Alright, so one way or the other, the first reap is going to happen here. Which, I mean, think about what is this real? Is the first reap really going to happen like a quarter, like not even like a third of the way through the dungeon? Ah, this is going to be a nightmare. Where are the mobs going to come from? How are they going to get to us? There's no way the mobs from outside are going to find their way to us. They're definitely going to bug out. They're definitely going to bug out or come like glitching through the floor or something. I just don't know. I hate this dungeon, by the way, guys. If you can't tell, I absolutely hate this dungeon. Okay, so now we come up. So this is actually a pack that we normally have combined. We're definitely not doing that anymore. Let's see these rain speakers. One way or the other, it looks like only one mob is needed here. So I wonder if there's any way. There's got to be a way to get count. You know what? I guess we could have done. Could have got this crocodile. I don't even care to go back down there. We could have got that crocodile from earlier in the dungeon. That probably would have given us 20. Let's go ahead and see. This crocodile is not going to give us 20. Okay, so one way or the other. Unless you pull stuff at the start. I have seen people pull all of this, but it's a lot higher level of a tactics, and that's something I'll be doing. So anyway, unfortunate reaping here. I mean, one way or the other, it's going to be a nightmare. The reap is going to be a mess. It's just going to be a mess. Well, we've pulled these. Normally we'd have aggroed this, but since we're going to be dealing with a reap, probably not a good idea. We could probably grab it. We're probably going to end up having to grab it while the reap is getting to us, because it's, you know, approximately going to take about 15 minutes for that reap to get to us from the start of the dungeon. Whatever, these are not aggroed really. I guess maybe by accident. Doesn't matter. Get these. A lot of times you have an infest here, so you'd get it, but they don't give count, so it doesn't matter. Now there's these patrolling arsonists, which they're not patrolling on the map yet again. Not in love with this add-on, to be honest. Especially for a dungeon like this, it really doesn't do a good job. We're still not at 40, so this is definitely, man, these packs are gonna be tough, man. I have a feeling I've made a mistake on this count percentage here, but it does look like one way or the other it's gonna be 40 in the middle of this area here, and this is a dangerous area for trash anyway. So really, looking like Tol Dagor is gonna be the worst one for reaping. Let's just keep moving, assuming we're making the right play, but the odds are we are not making the right play. Okay, so Jess opens the door, comes back. Still under 50. This is crazy how little count we have. Under 50. It's just so hard to tell where we're at, man. Freaking mess, this whole map system. Okay, it's going to office quarters. It's got to be here, right? Let's see. Yeah. This is the pack that's all fighting each other. That's right. Is that right? Yeah, this is the pack that's fighting each other. Okay, I recognize it now. So we pull those. We don't go this way, whatever this way is. What is this? We go this way. Wait, there's a bridge here, isn't there? I'm so confused. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a bridge here. So we'd normally pull these. Then we'd go across the bridge. We'd solo this. This is the caster that's padding. Now, a lot of times people open this door and go this way. That means we'd swerve this pack. That's not bad. Means that one of these is going to be up. Well, two of these is actually going to be up when we're reaping. So I don't really like going this way, so I'm not going to do it. So we're going to go this way. I'm going to solo pull that. That's actually perfect. If this actually works out this way, this would be ideal. Because we can grip this one in. Usually I would grip this one in because it's a caster. We could just interrupt it. But when we're there, get it in. And then that would be the reap. But again, you got mobs coming from the Bermuda Triangle. I'm talking about they're coming from a classic private server. They're going to be so far away. I don't know. It's going to be such a mess. I can guarantee it. Anyway, so let's just keep going. So we're going out. Now we're outside. I don't see how we're going to have count. I think we've messed something up here. But the cannons apparently work. So it's kind of like doesn't even matter. If they are supposed to work, then we are in good shape here. Because it doesn't even matter what we pull as long as we have the cannons. Does it actually count? I guess it is. Yeah, that's count. All right. I don't know. It just looks like we had no count for some reason. But at this point, it doesn't seem to matter because if the cannons are actually meant to work, then it's kind of trivial, isn't it? The second half of the dungeons, the reaping is trivial because you're going to get it. You're going to get your final reap here. You cannot skip these. You have proof sight. You'd have to invis or something. Stealth or die, I guess. Not a good idea, I don't feel like. Just kill him and use the cannon. The cannon's going to be right down the steps here. That mob, you can pull these down here any way you use the cannon, I guess. So, I don't know. Tol Dagor is another one, man. It's just really messy, but yeah, I think Tol Dagor, based on what I'm seeing, if this is actually all right, then this is going to be the hardest reaping one. And I guarantee it's going to bug. Talking about bugging, I'll save the best for last. Waycrest Manor. What a mess. What a mess this dungeon is going to be with reaping. 100% mess. Let's just assume we're going down this way first. Can't even tell. Upstairs. Ugh. It's a different map altogether. Let's just assume we're going down. I seem to go this way more often than not. Isn't there supposed to be mobs here? Pretty sure there's supposed to be another pack somewhere. It's not teeming. I don't know. Anyway, let's assume we're gonna go all the way here. Is Pat all the way over here? Really? Is this really Pat all the way over here? I didn't realize that. Well, I see them there all the time, so. The first reap is looking like it's going to be in this room one way or the other. Let's just go ahead and look at the upstairs first, because these are two right sides are going to be the worst, I'd imagine. I cleared the whole thing, though. Oh, yeah, one of these. These can just spawn, like, random locations, right? Wherever there's an organ. I hate this dungeon, honestly. I hate the fact that it's so random. Well, one way or the other, the reap is going to happen in this room. I don't know if that's a bad thing, honestly. I think that's probably not a bad thing. So let's just assume. The bottom right, to me, bottom right is the worst. So let's go ahead and assume we're doing bottom right just to get it out of the way. This is one that I don't think I'm going to be able to get my predictions on because there's just too many different routes. And there's too much variability in what you pull. This does give 0 count, yeah. These pigs give 0. I didn't realize that. That is crazy, man. This dungeon's so messed up. Can't believe these pigs give 0. Well, that's actually a perfect 20 right there. If you can do this, I feel like there's something else here, though. But one way or the other, it's going to be early into this room. And I think that's a good thing. Get it out of the way, and then we're going to get the rest here. Still well under 20. Pull this fat pig boss. Okay, going outside now. This is where things get a little more interesting. Outside at least has pretty predictable count. These guys are all patrols. Definitely gonna get these two. That's pretty good. This can be split pulled, so we'll have a good 40 here. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. If we can get to this point, if this is, if this is actually the count we have, realistically we might have separate counts from. I don't know about this pack here. I don't really know. It's a really pat the entire hallway. I guess so. Well, anyway, it does look like the courtyard is gonna be where we get our second one, and that's pretty good. As long as it's not during the matron, I feel like it's going to be fine. So let's go and get the matron. 46 still. Now we're going inside. Sometimes you go by this pack. You have to pull it going this way. It's pretty random, isn't it? I still don't really know what chooses these doors, if it's just random or what. Assume we'll get this pack. Assume we're getting this. There's a pack that comes from the stairs, which is, of course, not on the just freaking map. Is it this pack? What is this? Ballroom? What the hell? It's got to be this pack, right? I don't even know. I'm so confused. So confused. Grand Foyer. This is the pack. I don't know. I'm so confused. This map doesn't look like anything to me. No, it must be. Well, needless to say, I don't think I'm going to be able to predict this count. This has got it. Yeah, this is it. This is the pack. Okay. So anyway, we're at 55. Aggroed all this stuff. 60 here. It's not bad, but almost always when you pull this pack, you're going to be fighting something else. There's like 3 packs that kind of all converge in this area, and then there's these random ass rune weavers, which I still don't really understand how or where they spawn. I don't think they're always here though. But I don't know, maybe you guys could elucidate that for me. I don't know, man, what a mess. Anyway, it looks like it's gonna happen in this hallway, which I am definitely scared of because, you know, again, you're gonna have mobs coming from like, again, this is definitely gonna be a lieutenant mob, right? So it's gonna come all the way from over there. I don't know. The thing about counting this dungeon is you almost always need extra mobs before going downstairs. What did we decide? I can never remember. People always have to tell me in the middle of the stream. You need like 70 something, I think. Then we gotta go downstairs, cellar. Let's take a look. But it's so variable. Like, there's so many different ways to go downstairs. Just a mess of a dungeon, honestly. Matron Alma. Assuming that's going to give 80, that would actually be pretty good. If that does actually give... Let's just make sure we have the right count. Catacombs. These guys. Well, that's not them yet. We're not fighting those yet. These guys. This is 89. We are actually short. So what do we need? Let's figure this out, since I can never seem to remember how much we actually need before we go downstairs. So that we're yeah, it's like 83. That's right, 83 before you go down proper. So you can get this pack here, but one way or the other, I think this is actually pretty right, pretty correct. That is. Grand Foyer. Yeah, this is actually pretty correct. You'd oftentimes, this would be your route downstairs. This would, yeah, if you're on this side of the dungeon, this is definitely your route downstairs. Otherwise, it's this one, and then it changes everything because all of these mobs and everything. But yeah, let's just assume that this is the way we're going, because I think this is the hardest way. The problem is split not getting this with these, but anyway, we're assuming it's going to happen. Actually, realistically, it's probably these would probably be later. Probably get this earlier. This would probably be first. If you can do this last, it seems ideal, because as we said, yeah, 78 all the way up to 81. That would be perfect. It's just so many variables here. But this is usually not, you don't usually pull this before this. So that's 76, and that means 81 is over here. So that means this mob is usually the last one that's guard. Oh, no, it's the captain. The captain. So there's going to be a, oh, no, this is actually perfect. One second. Yeah, this is perfect, actually. Either way, it's fine, no matter what. One way or the other, we're going to get a clean reap here. It's just, again, I guarantee you the reaps are going to just come roaming through the wall. They're going to come flying through the ceiling or something like that. It's going to be such a mess, such a nightmare. But anyway, definitely the last reap is definitely going to be down here for sure. It was actually not a bad thing that we were short, huh? Again, it depends if you think it's worth skipping mobs and going all the way back for them. But being short here, this is not bad at all, because you can lust on the last boss, and then there's a chick, there's like a human chick, she's like hanging out up here or something. Up here, I think. She'll send you back to the very beginning. She'll send you back here. Then we can just go in and get, this is actually perfect, because then we could skip the last reap. The last reap would be actually pretty dangerous, because it's going to contain... Just depends. How did we get this much count? These really give this much count? Huh. Wait, what did we... Cellar. Well, I think it's probably worth it. Oh yeah, I got these right. I think it's probably worth it. You can also try to skip this mob, I guess. and then just come back up for this one. But I think it's definitely worth it. What is this? Oh. That's not Mythic Plus related, right? Surely. Is that the case? It says this trash will not be active while Matron Christine is active? I don't think that's true. Anyway, yeah, either way. I think it's not bad. I think it's not a bad idea at all to not have count here. To go back and get the final pack. So I don't know. My head's spinning, guys. Let me know. I try my best here. I think a lot of the dungeons... So I definitely think AD is the smash one there. It really... We don't have to change our route at all. It's almost ideal. And I'm probably going to have to watch my own video just to remember half this stuff. But the ones I'm most worried about is Shrine. A lot of mistakes early. A lot of mistakes early that can be made, man. I'm telling you. If you get Reaping here... Oh, it's going to be a disaster. If you get Reaping right before this first boss, you will be fighting the boss with Reaping. There's no way. I mean, you could try not to pull the boss. The odds of it happening are low, guys. I'm telling you. They're quite low. The good thing about it is the end of the dungeon is very easy to avoid. And the same with Motherlode. Very easy. What else? King's Rest is going to be a nightmare. Can't look forward to that one any more than I... Can't look forward to that one any less than I already do is what I mean. Siege of Boralus, I oftentimes finish the dungeon without count, so it is very possible to go back and get it. Sethralus, same deal. You could use benefit very greatly. Sethralus might actually be the easiest one. Atal'Dazar and Sethralus might actually be the easiest ones. Motherlode we talked about. Underrot actually is very straightforward as well. Talked about a very good route in Underrot. Tol Dagor is probably the hardest, to be fair. Tol Dagor or King's Rest are probably going to be the hardest ones with Reaping. King's Rest especially because it's going to reap in the middle of this, no matter what. No matter what, I don't think there's any way around it. Yeah, there's no way around it. Let's clear, just make sure. There's no way around it. You will have Reaping in that room, right? Oh, maybe not, actually. No, yeah, of course. What am I talking about? Yeah, you will have Reaping in this room, one way or the other. So that means you'll be dealing with potentially Lost Souls, whatever the Lieutenant mobs are, while you're fighting one of these trash packs, which are already some of the hardest packs in the game. I think King's Rest is going to be very challenging. King's Rest and Tol Dagor, I think, are going to be the hardest. And Waycrest has the potential to be very hard, but just because it's so unpredictable. I think Waycrest might be a sleeper for the hardest just because of how unpredictable it is. Otherwise, I think we mapped everything out pretty well, so I don't know. It was an interesting video. I hope you guys can learn something from it. Like I said, I basically just made this video because I needed to do this for myself anyway. And if I didn't, I would just constantly make mistakes in a week or two. So yeah, hopefully this helps you guys. More so, hopefully you guys help me. If you guys have any suggestions, anything that you see me talking about in this video that doesn't seem accurate, please let me know here, okay? Definitely looking for criticism and feedback on this. Again, a lot of the routes I do are not routes that most people would recommend, but I like them. And I know they're not ideal, and I know they're fighting trash that maybe is skippable or trash that you might not want to deal with, but I quite like it. I'm comfortable with it, and I don't really see a lot of value in switching it up. But again, I'm totally open to suggestions here now with this new season, so let me know. Thanks for watching. We will hopefully see you guys in Season 2.